Are you going to record? Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you. Very good. Thanks. And show, for the record, regular members, myself, Ken Johnson, Paul Yeager, Marge Smith, Ken Dietz, and then we also have Anthony Palumbo and Hillary. There you are. Hillary Clifton is here, as well as our land use administrator, Donna Hayes, and associated guests and applicants. So we don't need to elevate any alternates. And what I'd like to do is ask that for a motion to move the minutes and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting from 3A to 6A2.
Well, it would be 2
Okay.
after 6A2.
What is 6A2? I don't have that.
6A2 is first you have to add to the agenda. We're going to add the letter to Lynn Warner, Chairman, and members of the commission from Stan Greenbaum dated May 19th of 2022.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to add 682 to the agenda.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
I just need a second.
I'll second. Sorry, I was
I'm sorry.
muted.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks, Ken. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, but I
Opposed,
can't
or-
see you.
That's okay. Opposed or
Aye.
abstention? Okay. And now could I have a motion to move approval of the regular meeting minutes, April 25th, from 3A to 6A3?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Second. Thank you, Marge. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Any opposed or abstention? Okay, great, thank you. All right, so we're going to move we have no new business, correct? We're
Correct.
going to move into old business. Application 128022, Karen Stonley of Span Architecture. It looks like in our packet we got what we asked for at the last meeting. Is there anybody here representing?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi,
Oh, yes,
Peter.
Hi.
Peter.
I'm Peter Pelsinski. I'm Karen Stonley's partner at Span Architecture. So sorry, you're stuck with me tonight.
That's happy to be stuck with you. Sorry you're stuck with us, but yay. So is there anything do you want to just walk us through looks like the erosion control plan?
Yes, yeah. So there's two. As subsequent to our last meeting, you guys
Peter,
wrote
Peter?
an erosion control plan. So we have two sheets that were prepared by the company, which really kind of show that we're going to create a double row of silt fencing prior to the site work that would be kind of to the north of the existing foundation wall. So that would obviously be prior to demolition, and that we've set up a kind of proposed staging area to the south, kind of the furthest south and east, as far back from the pond as we can, to be able to remove that debris. So I think it's a fairly simple two-sheet plan. So I don't think I have much to add to that unless there are other questions. We have also filed, I guess I should say, kind of our, oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to let you know that you're going in and out and freezing. I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi connection. We captured most of what you said, but I missed, you filed a what? What was the last thing you said?
Oh, I said that we've also filed our kind of Department of Buildings plan in terms of what the new structure will be, which is correspondent to what is on the sediment and erosion control plan. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm just reading the notes on this. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Any of the commission? I'm taking a minute to read the notes here.
No.
Okay, Paul or Marge or Hillary or
No.
Karen or Ann? Okay,
I have one question, if I may.
sorry, I should have asked you.
That's okay.
Obviously.
It says that the existing house, the deck, the stone patio and the chimney is going to be removed. And then underneath it, it says the existing foundation of the house and deck are to remain. So when you say the existing foundation, do you just mean the footings that are underneath that deck?
So the foundation, yes, the answer is yes, plus the foundation walls that come up to the level of the proposed one-bedroom studio addition, because we'll be making that house at the same elevation, and therefore we'll be backfilling that existing foundation to, make it at the same grade.
Okay. Okay, I was just a little bit confused because at one point in time you say it's going to stay, and then another point in time you say you're going to remove it. So I was just trying to figure out exactly what was going on. That's all.
So
Okay.
so the entirety,
Uh-oh.
Frozen in time.
Lost.
Oh, there he goes. He's bouncing around my screen. Now he's
Sorry.
on.
There he
I
is.
disappeared. Um, So
Try turning off
So-
the video.
the entirety of the existing structure will be removed, except for the foundation walls. The foundation walls will remain.
I'm sorry, it's hard to hear you. Peter, turn off your video, but and then try talking.
Now keep your mute,
video.
unmute. Here's Karen. Maybe Karen can explain.
Hi, everyone. I am so sorry. We have
Okay.
COVID in our house, and it's literally just unfolding before we got into this meeting. If you can hear me better, I can absolutely explain everything. I know Peter went through the fact that we resubmitted with a siltation plan, and the idea is that we are in fact trying to do as little as possible disturbing the natural environment. So therefore, the primary parts of all the
Uh-oh.
No.
but the basis of the foundation will actually be left in place.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I actually didn't hear it, Karen. Could you repeat that one more time? The foundation will what?
The foundation, the idea is the foundation is remaining in place
Okay,
and is basically acting as a new surface for decking and the like. And the owners want to live with the property, have this small structure on the property, really enjoy it. And, at some point, as their boys are getting older, figure out what they intend to do with it in like some later time.
yeah, so they'll come back. But to answer Donna's question, what exactly was your question? Are you gonna tear down or, right, I've lost it at this point, sorry.
Right. No, that's
What-
okay. I mean, in two different places, it says existing house deck, stone patio and chimney to be removed. And then it says the existing foundation of the house and the deck are to remain. So it's like, how can you have a deck if you don't have any foundations? But you're gonna take
I
the
think
existing
that's-
wood deck that's
yeah.
on top of the foundation off and put new decking on top of it.
Is that right?
That's right. That's right. And
Okay.
Peter, can you turn off your audio, please?
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Very good.
Actually, I apologize. Donna, you actually seem to know our project better.
No, I don't.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Karen? Or about this proposal? Everybody's good? Well, very good. Well, thank you for submitting the additional information and for being here to clarify additional questions. Appreciate it. And we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve. Oop, I just lost my agenda. For the
1280, 22.
128022.
Second?
I'll second.
Is that Paul Yeager on mute? Oh, that was Ken Dietz. Okay,
That
thanks,
was
Yeah,
Ken.
it was
Ken
Ken
Dietz.
Dietz.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Signal? Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, hearing none, motion passes. Thank you very much. It looks like she disappeared, so,
It's the
Anyway.
nature of our internet,
Okay.
apparently. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Peter.
Have a good night.
You too. Okay, possible notice of violation, Stanley Greenbaum. Donna, I'm not sure what else you wanted to talk about here, but last time we talked about getting the Northwest, reaching out to Northwest Conservation District. Were you able to do that? There's a couple other things we talked about. Were you able to do that?
Yes, I drove past the property today and things have been moved out of the area. The area's been cleaned up and I am going to be meeting with Cynthia Rabinowitz at 10 o'clock on June 2nd. She's just swamped. And so that was the best that we could do. And I
Okay.
did
And-
communicate that to Dan Greenbaum when he was in the office, I think on Friday, getting a burn permit.
Okay, so just to clarify for me, the Northwest Conservation District, if they take a look at this and can do the soil sampling and delineate the wetlands, they do that for free. Is that right? A service
That's
to
right.
your town.
Yep.
Okay. Good. And you just answered my second and third question, which was the cleanup and Dan Greenbaum. Okay, good. Anything else at this point?
Nope.
Sounds like progress has been made. Okay. Does that mean that there's no violation that exists at the moment?
That's correct.
That's what I was.
And I'll
there
wait
anything-
to see what Cynthia has to say.
Okay, but is there anything we need to do regarding the violation, or do we continue this application to the next, or this issue to the next meeting?
I think we should continue it to the next meeting until, at which point in time I'll have some information from Cynthia.
Okay, so, hang on one second, Mr. Greenbaum. We need a motion. Hang on, is it okay with the commission if we allow Stan to address us at this point in the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, Stan?
Yes, I have a question regarding the meeting on June 2nd. Can you explain what that's about?
Yes. Donna?
Yeah, as we had discussed at the last meeting, I wanted to bring someone who's a soil scientist to walk around and identify the wetlands that are on the property.
Okay, so my concern with that is I was wondering if you had contacted the neighboring property owners, since wetlands don't follow property lines.
I haven't contacted them, no, but we will look at the property that's surrounding the area to identify where the wetlands are and where they're coming from and going to.
And does that involve soil testing on that date?
It might, I'm not sure. She might be able to make an accurate determination just by looking at what's growing there. And it would be up to her to make that decision.
Well, I guess I'd like to have a better idea of the scope of the work that's going to be done on June 2nd and to what extent it involves the wetland area in that vicinity, not just my property.
It'll be the entire
Fine.
area that's there.
I'm
She'll
sure
be-
that, I'm sure that Cynthia could identify the 3 or 4 steps that she normally goes through in an email, if you can reach her, Donna. I've been involved in some of the work that the Northwest Conservation District has done, Stanley. It's basically a walkthrough. Sometimes there might be a small soil grab in a test tube, or it might be a combination of that and just taking a look at what's growing. Sometimes that's not possible because the property has been, the original vegetation has been removed, but sometimes it is. And then she'll do a report based on what she saw in the field in terms of the presence or lack thereof of wetlands on the property.
I would be
Pretty
interested.
simple.
I would like to be there at that time.
Absolutely. Do you know what time the meeting is, Donna?
10 o'clock.
Thank you.
Can you make that, Stanley?
I can, thank you.
Great. Okay, so we need a motion to just continue this conversation to the next regular meeting.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
thanks, Paul. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Okay, motion carries. All right. Moving on to 5C, this is the email complaint from Matt Starr. And I'm sure you've got stuff to ask Donna, ask us, but do you know, were you able to determine that the plan that we talked about at the last meeting was implemented?
Actually, a better plan was implemented. So everything is all taken care of. The area has all been remediated. It's all dry. There's no water that is coming up from the spring. Nothing's going out across 341. And then the second driveway, which was on the west side of the landing zone, has been actually, they're not even using that area any longer, and it's starting to grow. And that's
Oh, that's
all
good.
dry. So yeah, he did a good job. I mean, he just needed to be told what to do. So he and Rick worked together very closely, and he took care of it immediately. Like it was done that Monday, that Tuesday, because I was on vacation Monday night. But Rick was with him on Tuesday, and it was all taken care of. So,
Very
after
good.
Last night rain, I went by there. Rick's been by there, and it was dry. So we're good.
That's good news.
Yes.
That's good. Any other questions on this from anyone?
Nope.
Okay, thank you, Donna.
You're welcome. I thank Rick too.
All right. Yes, thank you to Rick. All right. Communications to the commission. Okay. This Alberto Mimo conversation, just so you know, I worked with Alberto years ago when he worked for the Department of Environmental Protection. He did a huge number of great things with kids. He got so many kids out on waterways. He was really an amazing phenomenon. I was delighted to see his name in front of me. I haven't thought about him in years. It just sounds like they're putting in a temporary temperature probe. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. I wasn't quite sure what he was asking for when I spoke to him on the phone and asked him to send me the email, and that's what we were getting. And my main concern was that DEP, whether or not they had been advised, and he does have a permit from them to do the work. So really, basically, this is just a courtesy of letting us know. And then I'm gonna let David know that this is going on as well, so that David is aware of it. Because we're not quite
Oh, that's-
sure who owns Leonard Pond.
Yeah.
It looks like it's on David's property, but it has a state boat launch in it. So I just figured, well, the DEP knows about this. We know about this. Let's let David know about this, and we should have all of our bases covered.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So now we're on to 6A2, which is the letter from Stan, which I believe Stan wanted read into the record. Is that right, Stan?
Yes, please.
Right. Okay. Thoughtful letter, and you're just going to have to bear with me, okay? This is addressed to me, chairman, and members of the Kent Inland Wetlands Commission via the town hall. Dear Ms. Werner and members of the Inland Wetlands Commission, I am writing pursuant to the discussion under item 4C of the agenda for the April 25th, 2022 Inland Wetlands Commission meeting regarding a, quote, possible notice of violation, unquote, at my property at 247 Bulls Bridge Road, South Kent, Connecticut, 06784. I have read the minutes of the meeting, and I have transcribed the part of the Zoom recording where the discussion took place, 34 minutes into the 1 hour and 34-minute recording. The discussion regarding 4C in the transcript lasted for approximately 20 minutes. There are some significant errors in the minutes of the meeting. There are statements in the minutes that are not to be found in the recording of the meeting. In the minutes of the meeting, it says, quote, Mrs. Hayes, the Kent Land Use Administrator, parenthetical, explained that she had been working with Mr. Dan Greenbaum, the property owner's son, with regard to cleaning up the area that she believes is in the wetlands. It was her recommendation to bring it to the commission since the cleanup has not progressed and as a matter of fact has gotten worse. End quote. These two sentences would suggest that Ms. Hayes, had met with my son, Dan Greenbaum, to develop a plan or to make some agreement, quote, with regard to cleaning up the area that she believes is in the wetlands, end quote. That statement is reflected in the recording of the meeting. That statement is reflected in the recording of the meeting. Okay. I will speak to the veracity of that statement in a future correspondence once I have the records I have requested from the Kent Planning and Zoning Commission, the Kent Inland Wetlands Commission, the Kent Conservation Commission, and the Board of Selectmen. However, Ms. Hayes goes on to say in the second sentence that, quote, the cleanup has not progressed and as a matter of fact has gotten worse, end quote. That statement was not made at the commission meeting and is not on the recording. It suggests, if it were true, that my son Dan was not cooperating with the land use administrator and not following some alleged plan that was based on some communication with my son. Ms. Hayes does say in the recording, quote, I know that the Greenbaums have appeared before Planning and Zoning on April 14th, parenthetical 2022, and they said that they were going to work on cleaning up that area. I just felt at this point in time, you guys needed to be involved because it's just been moving too slowly. That's why I brought it before you guys, end quote. The minutes go on to say, quote, Mr. Stan Greenbaum replied that he had the soil boundaries identified in 1980, the driveway is not part of a wetland, and he received permission from the Board of Selectmen back in 1980 to put the driveway in, and that the junk Ms. Hayes referred to is not in the wetlands. Ms. Werner asked Ms. Hayes if any of these permits were located in the file. She replied that every piece of paper that was in the file had been identified in her staff report, parenthetically, to the Kent Planning and Zoning Commission. Ms. Hayes continued that she does not have any of the soils maps and that any of the soil maps that Mr. Greenbaum has referred to, end quote. There are a number of problems with the minutes of the meeting containing the above statement. Nowhere in the recording do I say that I received permission from the Board of Selectmen to put in the driveway across my property. I very clearly state on that recording of the meeting that, quote, in order to get the driveway built, we had to get permission from the Board of Selectmen to join Bulls Bridge Road at the east end of the property. This is parenthetically referring to 41 minutes, 58 seconds into the recording. This same egregious error appears in the written minutes of the Kent Planning and Zoning meeting on April 14th, 2022. The minutes of the Planning and Zoning meeting say, quote, that Mr. Stanley Greenbaum said the driveway had been permitted by the Board of Selectmen in 1980, end quote. What I actually said, based on a transcript of the meeting recording, was, quote, when we built this driveway, we had to get permission from the Board of Selectmen to tie it into Bulls Bridge Road, end quote. Number two, the minutes quote me as saying, quote, the driveway is not part of a wetland, end quote. I did not make that statement, and it is not to be found on the recording. What I did say was, quote, the area Donna is referring to is not part of the wetland on our property, end quote. That area being the southeast corner of the property. I did not say that, quote, the driveway is not part of a wetland, end quote. I know and acknowledge that the driveway from the barn area to the east end of the property crosses a small area that had been identified as a wetland. 3, neither I nor Ms. Hayes or anyone else refers to the materials in the yard as, quote, junk, end quote, in the recording of the meeting. Ms. Hayes does say, quote, we need to get that stuff out of the back corner. It needs to be out of there. Ms. Werner says, quote, by stuff you mean a camper, a truck, a camper, ... Ms. Hayes replies without affirming Ms. Werner's attempt to clarify, quote, there's metal. I know they said they have already emptied two dumpsters, like 2 tons worth of stuff, end quote. 4, the minutes go on to say, quote, Ms. Werner asked Ms. Hayes if any of these permits were located in the file. She replied that every piece of paper that was in the file had been identified in her staff report, parenthetically, to the Kent Planning and Zoning Commission, end quote. This answer was not responsive to the question that was asked by Ms. Werner. 5, the statement, quote, Ms. Hayes continued that she does not have any of the soil maps that Mr. Greenbaum has referred to, end quote, alerted me to another issue. I did not refer to soil maps in any of my statements. The one map that I was aware of is in the Planning and Zoning file, and it's the map I submitted to get permission to construct the driveway. It was not until I read the minutes of the Planning and Zoning meeting and subsequently the minutes of the Inland Wetlands Commission meeting that I realized that Ms. Hayes had conflated the Inland Wetlands Commission with the Conservation Commission. I didn't realize it at the time of the respective meetings. I attended the planning and zoning meeting on April 14th, 2022 via Zoom from, I don't know how to pronounce this, Kauai. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Kauai,
K-A, Kauai?
Kauai.
Hawaii. Thank you. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go back. Via Zoom from Kauai, Hawaii. And when I attended the Conservation Commission meeting via Zoom on April 25th, 2022, I had only been back in Connecticut for a few days after the absence of almost 4 months. There are numerous documents in the Planning and Zoning file regarding my interaction with the Conservation Commission, not the Inland Wetlands Commission. All of my references to, quote, inland and wetland, end quote, at both meetings should be read as the Kent Conservation Commission. Without a more careful check of the records, I can't recall having a prior interaction with the Inland Wetlands Commission regarding either of the properties I've owned in Kent or with my parents' former property on North Spectacle Pond. The purpose of this letter is to point out errors in the minutes of the Kent Inland Wetlands meeting of April 25th, 2022. I will address the substantive issues raised by the Land Use Administrator, Ms. Donna Hayes, in a subsequent communication once I have had the opportunity to review the records I've requested from the Kent Planning and Zoning Commission, the Kent Conservation Commission, the Kent Inland Wetlands Commission, and the Board of Selectmen. I have requested copies of any files pertaining to my property at 247 Bulls Bridge Road, as well as the agendas and minutes of these town boards and commissions for the years 1977 to 1981. Ms. Hayes has responded to my FOI request dated May 10th, 2022, and informed me that, quote, per Connecticut General Statute Section 1-212A, any person applying in writing shall receive promptly upon request a plain facsimile, electronic, or certified copy of any public record. The type of copy provided shall be within the discretion of the public agency, except 1, the agency shall provide a certified copy whenever requested, and 2, if the applicant does not have access to a computer or a facsimile machine, the public agency shall not send the applicant any electronic or facsimile copy. The fee for any copy provided in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act, end quote. Bold italics refer to the sentence, the type of copy provided shall be within the discretion of the public agency. Mr. Greenbaum goes on to say, the bold italics are hers, referring to Donna. I had requested digital copies. However, the type of copy is at the discretion of the public agency, and the agency may charge up to 50 cents per page for the copied records. I am also attaching a copy of a letter that I have written to Mr. Wes Wyrick, Chairman of the Kent Planning and Zoning Commission, regarding the errors in the minutes of their meeting on April 14th, 2022. I am respectfully requesting that this letter and the letter to Mr. Wyrick be read into the minutes of your Inland Wetlands meeting on May 23rd, 2022, as they pertain to numerous errors the Land Use Administrator, Ms. Donna Hayes, made in leading the discussion regarding, quote, possible violations, end quote, at my property at 247 Bulls Bridge Road, brought to both commissions. As the approval of the minutes of the meeting of April 25th, 2022 with these errors in place would do harm to the credibility of the Inland Wetlands Commission and to me and my property rights. Please note that this complaint of a, quote, possible violation, end quote, brought by Ms. Hayes was a direct result of our efforts to remove all of the objects on the southeast corner of the property. Prior to that effort that began approximately a year ago, the area was fenced and screened from view from neighbors and passersby. The effort was nearly completed in mid-December 2022 when there was a 6-inch snowfall. All remaining objects were removed within 10 days of your last meeting on April 25th, 2022. In the minutes of the April 25th meeting, it says, quote, Ms. Hayes says that she, in parentheses, will touch base with Mr. Dan Greenbaum when she returns from vacation, end quote. On the recording of the meeting, Ms. Werner asked Ms. Hayes, quote, Donna, are you willing to go to the site and identify a site that you are pretty sure is not a wetland, end quote. Ms. Hayes says, quote, it will have to be next week. I'm officially on vacation right now, end quote. Ms. Werner says, so you will reach out to Dan directly, end quote. Ms. Hayes responds, yeah, absolutely, quote, yes, yeah, absolutely, end quote. Ms. Hayes has not contacted either my son, Dan Greenbaum, or myself in the intervening 3.5 weeks. The site cleanup was completed on May 5th, 2022. I am hereby requesting that the minutes be corrected to remove these errors and any others you may find. I'm also requesting copies of all emails and other correspondence related to this possible violation or to my property. Thank you for your assistance in this matter. Cordially, Stan Greenbaum, signed. And CC Town Clerk Darlene Brady, First Selectman Jean Speck, Wes Wyrick, Chairman, Planning and Zoning Commission, Connie Manis, Chairman, Conservation Commission, and Mike Ziska, Esquire. And that is it. A couple things I would like to say. First, we never received a copy of Wes Wyrick's letter, so I'm not going to read that into the record. And I'm not sure it would be appropriate since really it's addressed to the Planning and Zoning Commission. But I did want you to be aware that we don't have a copy of that letter, so I won't be reading that in. The second point I want to make is that our minutes are never intended to be a transcript of the meeting. We record them for the purpose of summarizing the conversation. So while there may be presentation of conversation that is not an accurate transcript of the exact words that were used, our minutes are not intended to be that way. There are times when we're asked for a transcript, for example, if we're holding a public hearing or if we are going to court. And at that point, the recording becomes invaluable for exactly the way that you used it, Mr. Greenbaum, but let me just finish. I understand in reading your letter that you felt that the description of our conversation was inaccurate enough as to perhaps imply some kind of assumed wrongdoing on your part or your son's part. I speaking on behalf of the commission and Donna, I don't agree with that, with your perception, but I understand where you're coming from. And what I would like to do is suggest that we approve our minutes with whatever changes, other changes might need to be made, with your letter as part of those minutes so that it becomes part of the official record. I think that would be more effective, perhaps, than going back through and double checking everything that you say and then changing the minutes. This way we get a complete record and it is forever public on the record. So that's one way of dealing with this. I'd like to know what the rest of the commission thinks, and then Stanley, would be happy to hear from you as well.
That certainly seems the most
All right,
efficient
we're on
way to
you.
go about it. Rather than have
Say that
us
again,
have
sir?
to, I said that seems the most efficient way to go about it, rather than have to re-listen to however long last month's meeting was to fact check anything that's questioned in this letter.
And I also think that your point, Lynn, about the minutes being a synopsis or a summary of what happened at the meeting rather than a transcription. Words are used in the minutes quite often that were not specifically in the meeting, but they are there to explain in a nutshell what might take paragraphs and pages to put into the minutes. I think attaching Mr. Greenbaum's detailed letter is an excellent idea.
Other thoughts or comments from the commission? Okay, Mr. Greenbaum, how do you feel about that?
Well, in the usual course of events, I quite agree with your point of view regarding minutes versus transcripts. My concern is that the errors that I encountered all tended to be pejorative, and I found that to be objectionable, particularly since it suggested that I did not understand the role of the Board of Selectmen in the process of approving a driveway in this setting, and that same statement was repeated at two different meetings in the minutes when it was never said. So that's my concern, is that there's a point of view here which is kind of argumentative toward me and does not present the situation in a fair light.
So I think by accepting your letter and making it part of our minutes, the board is acknowledging that your description of the exact wording that was included becomes part of the minutes for that meeting. And I think that should eliminate, I hope, your concern that we're wanting to, for some reason, be in some way antagonistic towards you, which, speaking on behalf of the commission, I think I can honestly say we are not.
Right.
Okay. Any other comments or thoughts about this? Donna, you still there? Oh, no.
Here.
Are you okay with that approach?
Yep. I'll attach the letter to the minutes.
So they will become part of the minutes. So I think we need a motion. Oh, first of all, did everybody have a chance to read the minutes with regard to the remainder of our conversation? And did anybody have any other corrections or additions or concerns or comments? Mark
I do
did.
have two small ones. On the last sentence of 4C, which was this discussion, the word "she" needs to be inserted, that about she would touch base with Dan. Let me pull up the
Okay,
minutes.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other one was in the old business, the nice comment about that Kent School student. Next to the last line, he explained that he is currently working on the effects, EFFECTS. That's a little bit nitpicking, but there's a difference
Good
between
catch.
the two words.
Okay, so not EFFECTS. That's what
Yes,
you want.
EF,
Okay.
not AF. Yeah.
Got it.
Good catch, both of those. Thanks, Marge.
Okey.
You are so good. Anything else? In a minute? Okay, then we need a motion that accepts the minutes and the inclusion of the letter from Stan Greenbaum dated May 19th, 2022, addressed to us.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay?
Who
Any further
seconded that?
discussion?
I
Paul.
did.
Thanks, Paul.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention?
I'll abstain just since I wasn't there last week. Or last month,
Andy?
rather, excuse me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anybody else abstaining? Okay. I'm sorry, Ken Johnson, I can't hear you. Ken, you're muted.
You're muted, Ken.
You're muted.
And
There
you,
you
okay, I'm abstaining.
Why? You're not there?
I just realized that when I picked up my information envelope, I I thought I was reading the old stuff. I don't have the up-to-date information. That's why I'm abstaining.
You were at the meeting, Ken.
I was at the meeting, last meeting, yes. But I don't have the information that was due today.
You don't have the minutes?
I do not.
You don't have the minutes of the last meeting?
Well, I'll show you what I've got here. Regular meeting minutes,
Right.
February
25th?
February 28th, 2022. Somehow I got an old envelope.
Oh,
Let me look, hang on just 1 second. Let me look and see if I picked up the wrong envelope.
Okay.
Was there an alternate that took
Thank
my
you.
place at the last meeting that we might be able to just elevate for this?
Well, I think we can vote for this. We've got a quorum with Paul, me.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure I wasn't causing an
what?
issue here.
Hang on a second. Hillary, hang on a second. I think the quorum is it 4, Donna, or is it 3?
It is 4.
So if we need to, Hillary.
we
could be
elevated Hillary last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Hillary could vote on this. Ken, did you find your minutes?
No, I don't. I have the wrong envelope.
All right, let's do this properly. Donna, do we need to make a motion to elevate Hillary to vote?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstention. Okay. So for the purposes of this vote, Hillary has been elevated to voting status. Hi, Hillary, thank you. And Ken Johnson and Ken Dees are abstaining. Motion again is to approve the minutes with the 2 changes noted by Marge and incorporating the letter from Mr. Greenbaum dated May 19th, 2022, and addressed to the chair and the Inland Wetlands Commission. And we still had we had a second from Paul. Is that correct, Marge? You made the
Yep.
motion. And we had a second from Paul, correct, Paul?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Or
Aye.
wave.
Aye.
And then we've got Ken and Tony, Anthony abstaining. Anybody opposing? No. Okay. And then Ken abstaining. Okay, very good. Got it. Okay. Motion passes. Right? All right. Thank you. And thank you, Stan. Let's see, what else do we have on our agenda, which I just lost?
I think that's it, unless something else was added tonight.
Did we
That's
hear
it.
anything back from the DEP on the follow-up on those permits?
No, I never did hear back from them.
Those were the ones from like a month or 2 ago about all those ponds and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 months ago. I did send them emails. No, I never heard back. But I also sent a letter to the pesticide installer and asked them to please hold the water back on the Amsterdam pond so that it doesn't flow into the West, is it the West Aspetuck or just the Aspetuck at that point in time?
West Aspetuck, East
Okay.
Aspetuck comes out of Lake Waramac.
Okay. So no, I never did get a response. Quite honestly, I don't expect to get a response from what I understand. Valerie retired and moved to Maine. There's another girl, I think her name is Catherine, I have it written down. And they are just absolutely overwhelmed with everything. So, you know,
So perhaps we could follow up by email and see. And sometimes it's when you're overwhelmed, the squeaky wheel does get the attention, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
We know
Donna.
how the machines work.
Right, that's true. Okay, anything else to come before the commission tonight? All right, well, in that case, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Beat me to it. Second.
Sorry.
Any further discussion? Okay, all
Nope.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstention? Okay. Ken, sorry that you didn't have your packet, but we will try to make sure that that's taken care of subsequently. Maybe you just grabbed the wrong one. Okay.
Yeah, Marge, be careful. That bear that was wandering around town lives
Really?
around here. We see him almost every day at this point.
Really? I've not seen him yet. Wow,
My
thank
my
you.
dogs just chased him off the other night. He was off to the side of the driveway.
All
He
right,
seems to hang around the pond a little bit.
I'll
kinda
listen
in-
for your dogs. Thank you, thank you.
Hopefully not. He
I-
was, I was working on the boat with the shop vac going. I can't imagine that he would have come that close. And I had 2 boats parked side by side in the driveway.
Oh
He was
my
on the
God.
driveway on the backside of the other boat behind me. He was less than 10 feet away from me. And I
Wow,
had no idea he was there until
Yeah,
the
they're
dogs went
very
berserk.
quiet.
wow. Okay,
Yeah.
thank
So-
you.
I have a question for Donna.
Yes.
I picked up this packet. I'm sure it's the packet that I have in front of me on Friday. And there's old information in it.
It shouldn't be. I actually put the packets together, yours and Lynn's, side by side and brought them out and put them in the box side by side. There
Okay.
was a packet that you had asked me to include that had older information. It was a meeting that you had missed.
That's what,
That was for
that's,
last month, but then this month I left another packet.
okay, that's the one I picked up and I forgot, I didn't see this month's packet there. That's what happened.
Okay, okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. No worries.
It's all right, it happens. Okay, you guys, I think we're done. And we have officially closed the meeting, so we should wind it down.
Yep, I'm gonna stop the
Everybody have a
recording.
great, yeah, stop the recording, and everybody have a great evening, and I'm so glad that we are